My name is Whitney Page Thompson, better known as Whitney Page, and I am a cosmetologist, hairstylist, and loctician. I've been a loctician now for 7 years, and I've been a hairstylist, better known as a cosmetologist, for about 14 years now. Yes, all hair can ultimately be locked. It's just the softer the hair, the longer it can take. And when we say long, it can be up to as long as 3 years. The coarser the hair, it can be as soon as 3 months. So it just depends, but all hair has the capacity to lock. It definitely originated in Africa, and specifically in Africa. Some of the earliest known findings were actually from Egypt. And even if you look at some prior hieroglyphics, you do see some images that do reflect small locking. If anybody allows their hair, especially of a certain texture and dryness, to just freely form without touching it or adding anything, it will develop over time into some form of locking, because that is just the hair marrying to itself. There are many different types of locking methods. The more popular ones are interlocking, palm rolling, which is also known as traditional locking. There's freeform locking, there's sister locking, there's micro locking. There's many, they just vary in techniques. Some literally just are the workings of the hands. Some requires actual tools that have a crocheting sewing method. Some require products, some require no products. So there's different textures and different techniques for different textures of hair. All forms of lock, once the hair has fully locked together, is permanent. The locks are done with a tool and they are a stitching method. It's almost knotted down to your hair, which means once I put those locks in, they're permanent and they're tightly woven to the head. So they technically don't require products. Whereas with traditional locking, you need some type of product as an agent to hold the locks. There's also, let me state, I used to take courses in trichology, which is kind of like dermatology, but only for the scalp. And what I have learned, if you ever cook with grease and you see how if you leave it on the stove, it kind of films and solidifies, when we put oils on our scalp, the same thing happens as well. And please don't get me wrong. Oils are good for the body, good for the scalp. But when that film goes across your follicle, the hair has to now work harder to push through the oil. So that just slows up the rate of growth. So in general, you know, spirituality is to the individual. I would say in the African American community, we do see our hair as a spiritual thing. I personally do agree. Like they've had, you know, some type of spiritual awakening or a new journey, they tend to go and cut their hair off. And they see it symbolic as cutting off the history, cutting off the past, or, you know, just cutting off something that was a part of their lifetime. And that in itself has, you know, a spiritual undertone.
How has having locks impacted your spiritual journey?
I believe that we are of frequencies, and my hair is like an antenna, so it also collects information and also carries information. So
an antenna, you know, to things that happen spiritually, whatever your beliefs may be, that your hair is a connection, you know, to your divine spirituality and however God communicates with you. And
well, it's definitely biblical.
See it biblically. Samson and Delilah. Samson had hair that was locked and long, and he had supernatural powers from God, and it was believed to come from his hair. And Delilah's mission was to cut his hair off so as to cut off his spiritual powers.
In the ancient times, the Egyptians, they had dreads. Even in the Bible, Samson, he had dreads. His dreads gave him power. So dreads is really, however you see it, it's a form of power if you look at it that way.
Can you elaborate on the idea behind covering your locks?
Protecting your energy, protecting your space. Your hair is your temple. You know what I'm saying? Your hair is where, you know, your roots are.
Protect myself, you know, because energy carries and goes. So, right. You know, you want to get to, you know, you want to sustain what you have and not be attached from other people.
Right, exactly. Why might you not want other individuals to touch your hair?
because energy is a very, very powerful thing, and it travels even by touch. Somebody could touch you and their energy could be so off, you feel like you're drained. So if you're putting that all on your head, that you put all that on your crown, so all that is information to your brain, you just gotta watch out with certain people touching. That's really it.
Can you dive deeper on what a Rastafarian is?
Once again, people have different ways of define that. I do it more as more spiritual way. It's a way of life. Just being more pure. Not living off the land. And not living off of the land versus destroying the land. So yeah, things in that nature.
At what age did you start your lock journey?
Well, before I started these, I started my locks at, I'll say like the age of 6, and then I cut it off, and then I started back again at the age of 19.
Fortunately, I was brought into it from my parents. I was around 3 years old, and I just continued with the lifestyle.
I started at 20, yeah, 6 months ago.
Can you tell me what it means to be on a lock journey?
I honestly feel like what it means to be on a lock journey is just finding yourself. It's a whole new, different way of finding yourself, I should say. Especially spiritually, if you are a spiritual person. On top of that, I feel like it's just another step at life, just to challenge yourself, to push your limits, see how far are you really willing to go, to commit to something as little as a hairstyle. But you think it's something, small, it's really a lot,
Being on a lock journey to me is really a way of growth as well, because you got to deal with the ugly stage of locks, just like in life. So as your locks grow, you grow with it. Me, I could be at a time in my life where I'm not doing so well, but one thing that gives me confidence is my locks. So as my locks grow, I could feel more confident in myself to grow as well.
Having my locks in a more professional environment, they're more standoffish, the job. And so just me being how I look, I got judged a lot, or I didn't get the part, I didn't get the role, I didn't get the position just based off of how I look,
As opposed to in social settings, people are always walking up to me like, girl, your hair is so nice. You know what I mean? Like, I get a whole lot of compliments I didn't even ask for.
So do you feel like you attract a different crowd of people now?
I do, actually. I attract a lot more people. Like, more people feel comfortable to speak to me now. They see me with locks, and they're like, okay, she looks approachable. What is the difference between the terms lock and dreadlock, and what is their significance?
The term locks is what I have now. The term dread was really, it was a term, it means fear and apprehension. So basically, me having dreads meaning I was dirty and stuff like that. But I'm not a Rastafari, so I don't take heed to anything like that. I know what I have, I know what I represent, so that's really what it is.